All right, so we're on to night 2 of Netflix's horror anthology, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Tonight is episodes 3 and 4, which contains my top 2 episodes for the entire show. So let's get into it. First up is The Autopsy, and it stars F. Murray Abraham and Glenn Turman. Now, here we've got a seasoned sheriff who investigates a dead body in the woods and then calls on an old friend, a medical examiner, to help piece together a series of chilling events. F. Murray Abraham is the medical examiner. I mean, he is the perfect choice because through much of this, he'll be narrating into a tape recorder to document his findings in the autopsy. His deep and smooth voice is just captivating to listen to, and he has this patient cadence to his speech that I thought was entrancing. Now, the story is just short of an hour long, and the episode makes good use of the time to create something that feels a bit like it could have been an episode of The X-Files. As the medical examiner looks over the bodies, we are shown details of the past involving some of the deceased, really just building a picture of the events, but also getting tiny pieces of the puzzle that Abraham is working to solve. There's so much buildup for this one. The tension really mounts as the minutes pass, so once we get to the point where something pivotal is going to happen, we're primed and on edge. Now, if you don't like body stuff, this one's going to gross you out. And even if you do enjoy body gore, it still may make you wince and want to turn away. As can be expected, because of the episode name, there are autopsies that are shown. And we watch incisions being made, ribs being cut, entrails being removed and then weighed. I mean, it's visceral, and the practical effects, though, they're awesomely done. But really, it's the climax in this one that got me. There's a point where events culminate and the anxiety is extremely high. Plus, there's an urgency to the actions, making it even more stressful and horrifying. And this is also when the visuals become seriously nasty, and I found myself just cringing and curling away from the screen. I mean, I was grossed out, but also wildly intrigued at what was happening. So much of the story is driven by dialogue, at least when we're watching Abraham do his thing. The narration is good, but it's him trying to put the pieces of evidence together that really drew me in most. And when these are reinforced by flashbacks of the police doing some investigation, I mean, the whole story, it just becomes captivating. This episode's directed by David Pryor, and he's the guy that brought us that phenomenal horror, The Empty Man. So the dude knows how to build suspense and give us a disturbing tale that puts us on edge. And that's what we get with The Autopsy. I mean, it isn't extremely scary, but it is unsettling and tense. And then when that's combined with a spectacular lead in F. Murray Abraham, you don't want to miss this one. There's no sex, some nudity, a lot of profanity, and a ton of violence. Now, episode 4 is a cautionary tale, or at least a commentary on what we hold to be beautiful. It's called The Outside, and it stars Kate Micucci, Martin Starr, and Dan Stevens. Now, it's directed by Anna Lily Amirpour, who directed that strange vampire movie, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Longing to fit in at work, awkward Stacy begins to use a popular lotion that causes an alarming reaction, while an unnerving transformation takes shape. Kate Micucci is Stacy, and she's sporting a permulet, a permed mullet. Well, she's got some funky fake teeth in an effort to uglify her also. Now, she works with a ton of pretty but vapid coworkers who are obsessed with how they look and their status. And at a Christmas party, Stacy receives a Secret Santa gift of this ridiculously expensive skincare lotion, and as she begins to use it, she starts to have a reaction. There's a point in this where the makeup on Stacy is painful looking. I mean, if you've ever seen Warm Bodies, there's a point where R is talking about the zombies that are about to go full zombie, and when they do that, they just pick all their skin off. Well, there's a feeling of that as we watch Stacy's skin just start to turn this terrible red, and she can't stop scratching it. Just stop. You're making it worse. Ugh. This episode is one of the longest ones at just over an hour, and it's quietly unsettling the entire way through. Now, at the beginning, it's awkward and a bit painful as we watch Stacy just long to fit in, knowing that those she's trying to fit in with, they're not worth it, but she's drawn to what she perceives she doesn't have. Micucci is excellent in her role. She's meek when around those that she's intimidated by, but we also see her strength and confidence when she's around her husband, who's played by Martin Starr. Now, he's also very supportive of her, and there are some great conversations that happen between the two regarding beauty and fitting in. And we can guess where some of this is going to be headed. Now, in addition to the gross skin effects that cover Stacy, there are some other effects that I think are awesomely executed. From a shape that's covered in some goo to some violence that is incredibly convincing at how real it looks. Now, this story is really effective at drawing out the process of Stacy experiencing her reaction to the lotion. Now, I love the patience that's taken to really illustrate her mindset as she teeters back and forth between what she desires and the discomfort that she's experiencing. And while this episode isn't scary or spooky, it rocks in the uncomfortable and unsettling arena. I mean, the acting is engaging and the morals that are examined, they're pointed and relevant. Plus, there's enough body stuff to make it sort of disgusting to watch, which is enjoyable on its own right. There's no sex, some nudity, a lot of profanity, and some very brutal violence. I give episode 3, The Autopsy, 4.5 out of 5 couches, and episode 4, The Outside, 4 out of 5 couches. So, how are you liking the series so far? Have you been binging both episodes the day they come out, or are you taking your time to go through them? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.